today we're just really talking about this new initiative that we're putting out. Very authentic, very bold, very new in the industry of trades. Having a podcast to actually talk to the builders, the students, the people behind the actual buildings and get their perspective, about bridging the gap. So what do you think about this? Let's talk about how this all started, how it came about.
Right. So I feel like for me, this was a new space. And this being a new space, the first thing I did was kind of take assessment of how I can translate some other skills into this arena. And for me, I feel like one of my best qualities is like I love problem solving.
Yeah.
So coming to the table right away, I feel like both sides are kind of saying the same thing. The people are saying, by and large, we need jobs. We need better jobs. We need better paying jobs. The trades, by and large, are saying we need to hire people. So it's like, if you need to hire people and you need jobs, like, okay, we need to come in the middle and bring this together. So like that became kind of the way in which I tried to solve outreach and recruiting, which is my job was to recruit. So it's like, on one hand, yes, it's getting the people in, getting them the programming, but then it's also, what are we doing after the programming? What are we doing during the programming? Like, how do we structure the programming? And so that was kind of the first thing I did, like going to some of the trades and being like, hey, like, what do y'all want? Because it doesn't make any sense for us to come and train them if we're not training them, because then when you get them, you still have to spend that more time training them.
Exactly.
And so like, we're just going to try to put it together. I think from the end, you go to what is the finished product, and then how do we fill the gaps or bridge the gaps? I love always using the analogy of the bridge. So how are we bridging those gaps? In doing that, you start to talk to people and they have stories. And it's like, man, those stories are important, and it helps in kind of seeing the full picture and then just being able to empower people. It's definitely encouraging. It definitely brings people to the table a little easier when everybody gets a chance to tell their story, to tell their side, and for us to try to meet them in the middle. Because that doesn't always happen naturally.
That's true.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit more about the Awaken Foundation. Obviously, I've been working with you guys. Great cause, great initiative with students. But what is the vision and what is the Awaken Foundation, just for the viewers that are watching?
Yeah, so Awaken Foundation is a non-for-profit. I work for the non-for-profit side. It's ran by Drea, who is our CEO. It was kind of her goal to bring jobs. She was in an entirely different field as well. So she comes from a different field and just wanted to bridge that gap as well, and wanted to see change in her community and wanted to affect that. And seeing that the trades was a very viable way to do that. And so partnered up early on doing some projects kind of in DeKalb with Mortensen. We helped with the Facebook. They did like Meta. It's called the Meta building. They did that. And we did, it's called Hard Hats in Hands was the program. She kind of partnered with that one and kind of spawned us, going into our own thing. And so we've done with Construction Works, who is sponsoring us, by the way. Shout out to Construction Works, as well as the CEJA Clean Energy Project, who are our sponsors for here today. Partnered with them and just bringing programming first to DeKalb, and then we've had a couple classes here in Rockford. And so like being able to bring that programming and then pushing forward to being able to get those jobs. To make that change. You want to see change, but we all want to see change. If we don't help be changed, then we're just all talking with no action.
That makes sense. Now, we do a lot of different events when it comes to, the Hoodies Halloween, the He Builds that we have coming up, She Builds. Being able to work one-on-one with students and see their development from the beginning when they come in to attending the events to when they finish, how does that feel for you?
It definitely feels like purpose work. Because you're getting a chance to not just get somebody a job, but like they're becoming like a part of our family. Like they come in, we have a very small staff. So we have a staff of, at any given time, it's probably not over 10 for the most part. Like even when we bring in extra instructors and stuff like that. So it's very, very becomes tight knit. And for me, because I'm in the beginning in that recruiter stage, and then like I'm kind of helping, doing a little bit of this and that everywhere, I'm seeing them really in every stage. And so you see them from the first time I ever talked to them on the phone, most of them, or sent the email, and the first time I ever met them face to face, to like, going during out the classroom. When they have issues, typically we're kind of quarterbacking that between all of us. And so talking with them about issues they're having, or sometimes having to kind of re-encourage them. There's some of them we have to, pull to the side sometimes, just have a conversation with, or let them vent and stuff like that. And so just kind of journeying through life with them. I always kind of say that in the beginning when I'm first talking to them, like, this is going to be a journey through this portion of your life. And one, thank you for allowing us to be on this journey with you, but just letting them know that it's not going to be like this very easy thing always. Like it's going to be some bumps in the road.
Yeah.
We're going to hit some hurdles, but that we can, keep pushing through that. And to see them through to the end, like graduation, that first graduation with them and like seeing them in the caps and gowns, it's like, man, that's such a proud moment. So it's super cool to be able to share in that with people and like really be able to impact their lives and see their families and stuff too. Like that's so cool.
Yeah, I remember being at graduation and there were a few students that were sharing their story and talking about their story. You and Drea were telling certain things about them and how their families were after and just seeing them accomplish those moments. And there's this one picture where they're like one of the students, he's like holding his diploma up.
Right.
He's like this. And it's amazing. It's just, but to see that, how they can go from, maybe scared or reluctant or even discouraged at the beginning. And then by the end, it's like, hey, I can do this.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, and that's the reason even for graduation in that manner is because one of the other big things I want to do is make sure that trades is not looked at as option B or option Z or it's a last resort. And like, no, this is you can make some really good money in the trades. Like, yes, you're going to work hard possibly because you also may not. There's so many different jobs in the trade. So it's like, you may not be just directly laboring and that's one of the things people also don't know how many jobs there are, different jobs. But also in that aspect, you're going to be in a space that like is very much, needs to be celebrated. Yeah. Like this is maybe not the beaten path. It maybe wasn't your first choice, but it is a very good choice. Yeah. And I feel like that needed to be celebrated. And so like at the graduation, one of the things I spoke about was thinking of this moment as like kind of like touchdown, using the analogy of a football game. And so like sometimes we have to put together these small wins first. So the first downs, and it's like, but this day specifically is a touchdown. Like this is not a small feat. Like you may feel like it's not, to everybody else, it might not be this very big moment, but to one person who like started with a goal and stuck through it all the way through, like finishing that step is a very big thing. And that always deserves to be celebrated. And it can launch them kind of into, okay, I can do things. Like I can set up tasks and I can accomplish goals. Absolutely. That's one of the things you want to take away from something like this. Absolutely. That's why we always push to celebrate super hard, like when it comes to that type of stuff.
Speaking of celebration, the Awaken Foundation had one of the first high school signings for trade students. That was a cool moment to capture, to have the, trade students who are in high school, like the news come out, their families come out. What was it like planning that, getting that together, and just, getting the students excited about a moment that really doesn't happen unless if you're going into sports or going to college? So what was that like? That
was a moment where I felt like that was one of the ideas that I knew from the start was like, oh, this could be big, because it is that like you don't really get celebrated unless you sign to go to school or you sign to play a sport, you sign in, to do something in that manner. But this deserves to be celebrated in that same manner. It's like it's a very good opportunity, and so bringing a lot of attention to that, I feel like was what was the goal. We wanted to bring attention to that trades is an option, and that like it deserves to be celebrated, and that like this is very much has the same weight of going off to school. Like you're going to have the same opportunities. You're going to be able to earn while you learn, not go into a super amount of debt. And school just isn't for everybody. That's true. Like that doesn't have to be a knock. Just because you're not into school doesn't mean you're not doing anything. You can be also doing something else that's very much can be impactful for your life and impactful pretty quickly.
It was so amazing to see the students when they were doing their interviews with the press, with the news, and then like after with their families and how their families are bringing balloons. And I'm so proud of you. I think one of the cool moments was the physical view of seeing them walk away with like their toolboxes and their hard hats. And that was cool because it's like, this is a new journey. And that celebration, I think, was probably historical because I don't think there's ever been anything like that for students going into trades here. I haven't seen it.
Yeah, I haven't seen it in the area either. And so that was super cool to be a part of something that like is historical and should be, continued. Like you said, to see them from the first conversation, everyone is always skeptical because this does sound like very much it's too good to be true. I come and tell them, you're going to do this program, you're going to get paid while you do this program, like, and we're going to try to find you a job after the program. Like, it's like, okay, so what do I got to do? Like, you got to show up. Yeah. And you got to engage. And so like, it's hard to kind of get a grasp of like, this is real, but like, then when you get to a day like signing day where it's like, oh, well, the news is here. Like you said, I'm doing interviews. Like we're all up speaking. Your principal is there. Your parents is there. Like real quick, it's like, okay, no, this is a real thing. And like to build that excitement is like, that's part of what you want too, because right away from that, they leave and they call their friends. They post something, family post something. And then now word of mouth travels faster than anything will ever will. Social media, viral, nothing travels as fast as word of mouth. And then that phone start ringing, they call their friends. And like, that's how you affect entire communities. Like you get one or two, and then once you're successful, everybody wants that success. So it's like, we do all have to put the work in, but that's what gets the word out there like pretty quickly. So it was amazing to be a part of that. Shout out to Guilford and their staff for allowing us in every time we want to come in and giving us that space to explore that, because it was new and innovative, and we appreciate them for that space and time and platform.
They were very helpful, very welcoming, celebrating the students. Man, that was great. So the Awaken Foundation, there are so many events that we work on. Every time we look up, we're doing an event. Yeah. Like we have He Builds coming up this Saturday. What does it feel like to plan out these events? And, we have the process that we go through of like, okay, here's the idea. Here's the executing. Boom, 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 boom. Is it going to go well? Okay, the people showed up. Follow up. What does it feel like of that process to go from having an event be an idea to it actually coming to life and affecting people and educating people more about the importance of trade, specifically with the Awaken Foundation? That
was special. Like, Hoodies and Halloween was really cool in the aspect that we got to use the culinary students. So like they were the ones who got to prep and kind of show off what they had been working on. Yeah. We're outside the restaurant. Everybody comes out. We got to, hand out some kids some chocolate and some candy and stuff to the kids, so like getting involved with that. But then we turn around and do She Builds, and that's the first time we kind of got
deep.
Yeah, it was like we did. I don't even know if that's what we were kind of expected to do, but it was very much like, okay, well, obviously this was needed, because like right away, like the impact it made. We brought the speakers in to have impact on everybody else, but I think right away we saw that it was as special for them to like get that space to be able to share. We had one local, Carrie Crosby, who is likely going to be on the podcast, and then amazing. Who did so amazing, just talking about her experience with the trades here locally, super transparent, like super vulnerable, like super appreciative for her, coming out and sharing in that manner. Because some people come out and they'll give you their spiel.
Exactly,
they're gonna do a safe. She didn't. She did the very opposite. Like just was very transparent, very. It was an intimate setting to be in a gym. We were in a big old gym, but it was like, a couple of us in there and just like in that moment, like very much just enjoying that space. Same for Lauren Sugarman, who is over Chicago Women in Trades, a major player in that game, in that arena, as far as like for women in that space and them having a safe space, them having a say for her, steady pushing forward their cause, and for her to come out and share in the way that she did, and I'll give her a chance to tell her story of like what was happening that day. But she was like in mid kind of crisis mode.
She was, and she still showed up.
And still showed up, like took a moment, pulled herself together, and then just really delivered. And like, you can't say enough about people who, who are on the front line like that, and to be able to experience that and get them a platform and all is just like, again, we're planning an event. You can never plan for something like that to happen. It's just like, it's super amazing.
But you know what? I think that's the cool part, because by now we've done so many events, and each event, it's funny because when we're planning, we're like, okay, let's plan this. And then like, I think we simultaneously don't plan certain things because we know how humans are going to be humans. So there's something that always comes out of kind of like planning, but still having that freedom and that freestyling. I'm familiar with the trades. I'm familiar with people in trades, but working with the Awaken Foundation, I've definitely become more diligent in just the things that I take in and what I notice. And that day to see, those women be so vulnerable and share their stories and their experiences of things that you don't even think about, their stories, their excitement, but even to a certain extent, their pain, and then sharing their sacrifices, talking about this, like, oh, these are the things that have happened to me as a woman in trades, and these are some of the things that I have to deal with. But then to come back and hear that, okay, you're not just a victim of these kind of things that have happened. This is what you're doing to provide solutions to educate people and to move forward on that. It was like, oh, okay. So yeah, I'm really excited about He Builds that's coming up too. That's going to be cool. And I think the setup is going to be really cool.
Yeah. And to speak back to that, like a bit of flexibility, I think that starts from the top.
Yeah.
So I feel like the thing with Awaken, if there was a theme kind of around what we all do, is very much as far as being innovative.
Yeah.
So it's very much, we're going to be creative. Everyone's going to come to the table with an idea. We have a goal, but we very much are open to how we get to that goal. So like there's rules, there's regulations, there's some boundaries, but inside of those boundaries, if we can make it work and make it make sense, Drea is by and large been like, hey, I trust y'all, go with it. And that having that backing allows for that space to be like, it's planned, but there's a couple things that we're gonna like do on the fly, and just trusting us to be like to catch that moment and capture that moment, and us being sensitive enough to capture it like is very much so like that's kind of what I feel has made those events is those moments where we planned a lot of it because you want to get through certain things, you got to hit certain markers, but you want to give space for something like natural to happen like that every time, because that's why you bring those people there, because they care about those things and they have something to say. And so it's for us to give them that platform and give them that space sometimes to just express whatever is, whatever is happening, whatever is important to them right now.
Can we just take a moment to talk about Drea?
Yeah. Okay. Absolutely.
I met her through one of my mentors, and she's so amazing. She's so amazing. And the vision that she has had, she's probably going to see this and be like, why did you guys put me on the spot?
Because that's what we do.
Exactly. But the way that she allows the team to just flow in their skill set, and then she comes in and she has such an intentional team. She has such an intentional vision. And I think that it's so cool how she is as a leader, to see if you have an idea, you just bring it to her. And like you said, we're going to figure it out. How can you work it out? And it's like oftentimes me and her, we're talking about ideas, and I'm like, what about this and this? And she's like, well, do it. Go ahead. And it's like, well, you don't. She's like, no, okay. She's so just passionate and skillful in her experience, and she genuinely cares. And I think that's one of the biggest qualities that I really, really like about her as a leader, as the CEO of the Awaken Foundation. She's genuine. Like it always comes back to the purpose. It always comes back to the students. It always comes back to being intentional and being effective in the community. And I just love that, because there's so many people where you don't see that. That's not the foundation of like the fellowship. That's not the foundation of it. And with the Awaken Foundation, you guys are truly making a difference on the students that you work with. Like even talking about you, like how I've seen how you work with students, the extra time that you take with students. You don't just get that in one of these regular programs out here. People just pass you through and they push your paper through, they push your name through. You may get some experiences. You'll be lucky if they remember your name. But in the Awaken Foundation, like you said, it is a family. If you were sitting down with other organizations and just advising them on how to be more personable with their students, like what would you say about that? Because the Awaken Foundation, what I've noticed just watching you guys, the social media creep in me is like, oh, I pay attention to everything. You all are so personal and patient with the students that you work with.
Yeah, I think that is more or less that is the sum of the whole. So it starts with her, but that's kind of everybody's right now in that staff. Everyone is kind of the same. Like we're all just literally one team. Like I'll speak to how I like Drea's known me my entire life. So Drea and one of my first cousins are like best friends. So she's known me my entire life. So she's more like an aunt to me. So and that's kind of the perspective that we kind of approach things. So it's very much like a family. The Fergusons are the same. Like I had never met the Fergusons. I believe they're from here. I'm from here. I had never met them. I did an event with them once, but I look at them almost like godparents. So that is the way that our work relationship kind of works as well. So there's always that level of respect. Like I'm speaking to my elders in a sense. And so I always speak with a certain level, even when we're joking, like it's always, playful, but respectful. And then even there's sometimes when we have disagreements, there's just always that's the way we're going to handle it. And so I'll even say like meeting the Fergusons. I remember when we were doing She Builds, that was the first event that we ever did. And when she was on staffing. And so she also plans events, but we plan events very differently. And so as we're getting closer to the event, she's like asking for details. I'm like, oh, yeah, it's fine. Let's add a third, because I'm just like, and she had another event to plan. So I'm like, I know you're planning that, so I don't want to worry you with this because we got this. And I think we had two differences of opinions. So like when we had to come to a head, even still how we approach that is like, I'm speaking to my mom or somebody else like that. And she was the same way. She came to the table. She didn't come to the table with a whole bunch of heat. She like, look, I just want to help. I just want to know if there's anything to do. And in the end, there was something.
There's always something to do.
So in the end, but like in a different company, now we got to run that through HR. And I'm running to my boss and I'm complaining, this person doing this. We didn't have to do all of that. We just.
The pressure is off.
The pressure is off. And I feel like that started with Drea, but then that trickles down. And even the way we handle the students, we kind of do it in team fashion too, because all of us have different personalities and we all are graced in different spaces. So sometimes it's like, okay, well, these few students are going to be on your caseload right now to get them through this because you'll be better to speak to them to that. Or it'll be this. Like sometimes they need tough love, they need to go here. Sometimes they need like more of some hand holding, they need to go here, depending on who has to speak to what. And it's just being mindful that you are in these people's life and you are being impactful in their life. And so like just being gracious in how we handle them. Like they're not just numbers. Like that's why you say like we're going to know their names. Like we're working hard to know their names almost in the first week. And then going back to speaking like to Drea, one of the things I like doing the most is setting her up to give her to just speak because it's just it's always she's always on. Yes, she is. Always on.
She hates that.
I know, and I love it so much. I'm like, watch this, y'all. We did it with our first day, so we just had we just started a new class this past week. So they came in the last week for what we call enrollment week, like a soft rollout where we just kind of get together paperwork. On the first day, the students are always dry. It don't matter what you do when you first come in. We're like, hey everybody, and they're like,
we're
like, hey everybody, like, hey, what's up? Like everybody just like super tight. They don't know what they expect yet. And so it was very stiff in there. So like we getting paperwork signed, this, that, and the third. And I'm like, I know what to do. She backing her off. I'm like, you want to come out here and talk for a second? She like, they ready for me? I'm like, yes. She in the middle of doing whatever she was doing. She's like, they ready for me? Yep. Comes out and just
change the whole vibe.
The whole vibe. They talking about like kind of, just setting their mind on stuff, setting goals, who's here to do this, and she just interacts with people in a way that is drawing. It's just personal. She just is a person, a real person. She gonna come out, she gonna tell the story, she gonna draw you in, she gonna ask you about your story, and she gonna remember. We all do that pretty well. That's something I will absolutely brag on. We gonna know your story. I got students now who I can tell you, I just met them weeks ago, and there's stuff I know about them that I'm gonna check in on. Like I'm gonna be like, hey, how is this going? How is this going? You know, and that's just the way that you make them feel supported while they're here, that they're not just a number, they're not just a name, like that we want to see them change, and that they're gonna get as much out of it as they put into it. We tell them that all the time, that, you know, if you bring your best, we absolutely gonna bring our best. We out here fighting for y'all. Like this is what we enjoy doing for this reason, because we see the impact.
So I noticed that through all of this and like the events that we do, and, you know, sometimes just with working with students, you all put a lot of focus on their mental health. Their mental health, their life situations, what's going on just in their life and with them personally. Can you speak a little bit more to that, on why that is important and how you guys go about that process?
For me, that is personal. So like that is the reason why I'm the version of myself I am now, and I feel like I'm living the best version of myself post therapy. And I say post, but just post since I started there, because therapy is never going to end for me. And so knowing for myself, like the amount of stuff that I've been through in the past few years, just with life being life. But just like taking those tools mentally with me has allowed me to be in any space at any given time and show up with the me I need. And so like the trades is a hard place. I was a truck driver. I've been in the union several times. So I've worked some union jobs. That is, so
you have the experience firsthand.
Yes. So I've been in those spaces, and specifically I've dealt with injury in those spaces. That took me through probably one of the most darkest seasons of my life, but therapy is what helped me just keep pushing through it, like actually getting out on the other side. And so there's a lot to dealing with, like injury culture and being able to work in something that's very highly physical, but also can be at times mentally straining on you. The work itself, the culture around the work sometimes. And so like learning how to manage that sometimes, learning what you have to speak up for, because there are boundaries. You have to set your boundaries. But it is tough because it's a very tough space. Navigating that can be tough. Even with the unions who are there to protect you and make sure you know that your rights are upheld. But it can be a tough space. Any space can be tough. But just learning how to manage that well is sometimes bigger than the physical. Like your body is already breaking down. So you got so much time with your body.
Yeah.
But like how you treat your mental and how you show up with your mental, like that is like the level of work. You can only do so much physically, but like with your mental, you kind of push that a little farther.
Yeah.
And you got to go home. When you clock out, you got to go home. You want to show up for your family. You want to be able to be okay.
Yeah.
And so it's being able to have those tools to navigate that and do whatever you're doing from a healthy space, from the healthiest space that you have possible.
We've talked a lot about mental health, support of students in the trades. If someone is watching right now and they're interested in just learning more about the Awaken Foundation and how they can get in contact with you all, what is the best route to take? Like, what's the social media, website, contact, all that?
Yeah, so social media is Awaken Foundation L3C, as well as the website would be www.awakenfoundationl3c.com. Also, you can email me at qthomas@awakenfoundationl3c.com. As well as cell phone number is 779-274-9002.
Call out the number.
Give you the Charlie Wilson every way, every which way. If you send the smoke signal, I'll probably find it.
I love that.
But yeah, for sure. And then flyers are kind of out in kind of public places, and definitely you'll be seeing more flyers. We're kind of always updating that. I don't really like to let design stay too long.
Yeah.
I want to kind of keep it fresh.
Yeah.
So you'll be seeing some flyers coming out as well.
Now, what about like for sponsorships, if people are looking to sponsor or get in contact with, to just help out with events, help out with supporting students, same contact information?
Yeah, same contact information is fine. I will definitely get you to the places you need to be. We'll get you to Drea, and we'll get you to the table and figure out how we can do that for sure.
Now, being that we do a lot of events for the community and students, what type of support would you want to see from the community, from, organizations and different things?
Kind of a holistic approach. Like really, that is my goal. So I'm just a little over a year in this position. And so in year 2, that's my goal, is that like from the time I get a student, I want to be able to, whatever holes they're feeling like they need to fill in their life, to be able to say, hey, this is who does this. This is where you can go to get this. Is where. So I want to kind of fill out that support system. So if it's someone supporting gear or someone helping with just in-kind donations, so we can do like with rides and stuff like that, and transportation, childcare and other areas like that. So if you have those type of resources, just kind of getting those to us so we know what's going on. There are a lot of resources in our city that we're finding out that people just don't know about. And so just kind of, if you have something that you feel like is going to help the students, absolutely reach out. We can absolutely figure out how to make it work for them. I always say I don't want to bring people in for programming to get them in jobs that they aren't ready for. Yeah. So we need to get them ready. Like whatever they're coming in deficient in, is they're coming in to get those skills, not just in the workplace, but to be, thriving in life. And so you got to kind of have the basis. You got to have your foundation together to be able to like really springboard. You're going to make a lot of money, so we need to teach you about finance. Yeah. You're going to have to manage your time, so we need to talk about some of those soft skills and time management, stuff like that. You're going to have to use a hammer and some other tools, so we got to teach that as well. Absolutely. As well with safety. So it's just like really being able to suit them for life. And so those resources, any resources that'll help, for sure, support while they're in programming, and even after programming, transitioning back into life.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. Is there anything else that you want to leave the people with?
Trust the process.
Trust the process.
Trust the process. I am at a stage now where like the process is work. Yeah. You got to go, write it down, find the steps, do the steps.
I like how you said find the steps. So I think sometimes we as people think that we don't have to find the steps, that they're just going to pop up.
Yeah, no,
I like that.
Find your steps. That's what I would say even more specifically. Find your steps, because everybody's process is different. So find yourself. Man. That will help. Get in therapy. That's what I would definitely say. Get in therapy. If you have not explored that, find ways. There are so many ways to explore therapy. We're going to have some of our partners on that are in the mental health space for sure. So they'll be at He Builds. They were at She Builds as well. So we're always partnering with them. I always advocate for therapy like super at the most anytime I get a chance to. So for sure, get your mental together.
Always.
Because if you ain't right, you're not showing up as you. You're not showing up as your best you. And that's the only way to, you can't trust the process if you're not there for it. Yeah. So you got to show up as the best version of you.
Man, all right. Well, this has been wonderful. Super excited to see the stories that come on through here. Super excited to be a part of it. And man, just the impact that the Awaken Foundation has already been making in the community, to see another avenue, especially with this podcast, sitting down with people, listening to their stories. Because, I'm always about you are your brand, tell your story.
Yeah.
So to hear it from another perspective of individuals who are doing the building, like the people behind, the infrastructures that we go in daily, who risk their lives and sacrifices to make sure that people have what they need. To hear their stories is just, I'm excited for it.
Yeah,
I'm excited.
It's such a great opportunity.
Yeah.
And I'm super excited for it as well. Again, shout out to Construction Works and CEJA for jumping in on the vision.
Absolutely.
Like you said, very much a brand new thing in this space. So even being able to pitch that and not have seen it, shout outs for them for rocking with us and just, allowing us this space. And I'm just hoping that we can bring some light to it, some awareness to it. I know that we're going to. I'm excited about the conversations.
Absolutely. Well, I'm glad to be a part of it. And, I'm just excited for people to see it. I'm more excited to hear the stories and just learn, being able to listen and learn. You learn so much from people, and just continue to see the impact that the Awaken Foundation has.
Yep.
So, well, thank you guys all for watching, and tune into the next episode.
Absolutely. Thanks for spending time with us here on Awaken, Building Bridges, Bridging the Gap. We hope today's conversations inspired you and gave you a new perspective on trades and the people behind them.
And before we wrap up, we want to thank our sponsors for truly making this possible. We'd like to thank CEJA, leading the way in clean energy opportunities, Climate Works, powering careers in sustainability, and the Illinois Tollway for investing in infrastructure and workforce pathways. Their support allows us to keep these conversations going and speak to viewers like you.
Until next time, keep building purpose through the trades.
And keep building bridges in your own community.